Good evening, everybody. All right. Just a reminder, anybody in the Las Vegas area, I'll be there with a bunch of speakers for the Traders Expo this coming weekend. Oh, man. This weekend. So if you get a chance, swing on by. Where we're going to be in the Caesar, I guess, Caesar's Palace. And then there was something else I was supposed to announce, and I can't remember. Oh, well. Oh, Rem, I have no idea. All right, as we could see in the Dow today, the Dow was relatively strong. I say relatively compared to the rest of the indexes. It was up about 47 points. Through trade winds, all right, thank you, Paul. Yeah, Saturday night there will be a cocktail party where I guess all the speakers will be there. So if you've seen a lot of these speakers like Hubert Centers and Chuck Hughes, Steve Primo, guess they're all going to be there. All right, so the Dow was up nicely today. And the NASDAQ, although it was positive, did a doji, which, again, gives us a good trade setup scenario for tomorrow in the sense that we know prices are going to move in the direction of how they open it after the doji. So if we wake up tomorrow and the pre-market futures are positive, that's telling us the 50-day moving average is not going to be a resistance level. On the other hand, if they open it lower, then we know we probably have a few days of pullback to the T line, and then we have to see whether they're doing a bobble situation. Let me make this smaller. The other criteria also is that we're kind of in this downtrending channel, and we did a doji right. I mean, you could almost practically draw a line right through the tops. Just kind of want to make it a little bit of a warning that there might be some profit taking going on. Same scenario on the transportation index. You can basically draw a resistance line right down through the tops. Today we had that inverter or the hanging man getting up in the overbought area right at the same level we had the shooting star before, and at this resistance level. That also tells us an immense amount of information. But if they open this positive, they're breaking out through this level, possibly doing a doji sandwich. If they open it lower, we're going to come back at least to the T line, which tells us right now they aren't going up through this resistance level. Let's see, crude oil prices backed off today, and this was, again, that simple analysis. They're usually going to move the price in the direction of how they open it after a doji, getting close to the overbought area, but the other criteria was look where it topped out before, right about the same level. And if they opened it lower, where do you think the pullback was going to be? Probably at least back to the T line. So right now it's trading right here, right smack dab on the T line. So tomorrow's trading, which has already started, it's up 46 cents in the after hours, right here on the T line, tells us one of two things. If they start taking it back up, this trend channel is still in progress. If they bring it back down through today's close, that tells us they're probably bringing it back down to the 50 to see if it's going to act as support again. See what some of the other things Gold. Looks like gold was still up strong today, but trading back a little bit after hours right now, which was unusual because things like Nugget backed off. So the ETFs like Nugget also has to open positive and trade positive to stay in it. If it opens lower, they're probably bringing it back down to the T line, maybe, if they support there, or possibly bringing it back down. Oh, it's up after hours? Okay. Let's see, crude oil, gold, dollar. Dollar has popped up after hours, but it opened and starting back down. It's not quite to the oversold area. It's getting there. But we can see once they failed, here, let's make this way smaller. I mean, this is kind of your little double top. And where did the double top occur? Right smack dab on the 50. And you can see there's a wedge formation. You can see if it breaks this level, then we've got a wave 1, wave 2, going into wave 3. If it supports here, then you probably have some of that wedge formation still in progress. Trying to think of what else was of interest. The only other thing I've been trading is live cattle, and it had an indecision day with it supporting on the 3T and not trading lower. So tomorrow, if it opens positive, we closed out the position today just to see which way they're going to move it tomorrow. But if it opens positive, it's telling us they're still heading up to this level and then possibly the 50-day moving average. Gold, silver, nothing too exciting in the commodity area. The grains are all just waffling. So anyways, coffee. Coffee we took profits on today. We're still in the fry pan bottom, and it came up pretty nicely today. So when it came back down through, I think we started taking profits right in here. Got ready to buy back here, but it didn't confirm, so we stayed out of the position. So right now we're out of coffee because even though we were in the fry pan bottom, we were moved up pretty strong, not to keep us from buying it back in after or on positive trading tomorrow. Because what do we expect coming out of this strong price move, with this being the target, or at least testing this level, which would probably coincide with getting right close to the 50 or the 200-day moving average. Okay, so that's about all I can think over there. Your pot coffee. I don't understand what that means. We're out of coffee. Oh, okay. All right, some of the ones to keep an eye on because of the patterns. ITCI still has this nice slow curve, rounding bottom, J-hook type pattern. And we can see we have a wave 1, potentially a wave 2 going into wave 3. So wave 1 and wave 3 are the same. That means we should be looking at a move up to the $75 area. Pepe, hold on to your individual stock ones. When I tell Jim to do the double line, that's when you can type in 2 requests. We're still long DY because there was the wave one. There's your J-hook type pattern. Came back up through the T-line. Right now, I would suspect you're back in a 45-degree or same trajectory as wave one. Just stay long on this one. And I guess I better do these. We've been playing around with WIN, W-I-N, another scoop type pattern, sitting right here on the 50 with a doji today. Makes this very simple. If they open this positive with a double doji with stochastic still heading up, more than likely they'll eventually bring this up to the 200-day moving average. If they open it lower, we want to close out the position and just see what happens at the T-line. And I'm going in this direction. Here's one that we recommended and we haven't been talking about too much. AMCN came out of the fry pan bottom, gapped up, and note what the result is right now. A nice 45-degree. So with it up in the overbought condition, very simply, you just put your stop at the previous day's opens. Make this even bigger. But if they came back down through there, that tells you that's the profit taking started. You take your profits. Netflix. Still in this big fry pan bottom. Been using the 3T line as support. Want to just stay long on this one. Now, they're coming out Wednesday afternoon after the close, I guess, with earnings. So somebody always asks, do you hold going into earnings? On Tuesday afternoon, I'll see what they're doing right before earnings. If they are starting to show weakness, I mean, somebody that knows a lot more stuff than we do is starting to sell off, I'll close it out. If they're still trading strong going into earnings, that's usually an indication somebody knows something. Again, a lot more closer to the company than we are as far as their research. I'll let the charts tell me what to do. Just illustrating BG. It's been a nice steady uptrend ever since our kicker signal breakout. Very simple. You stay long until you see a confirmed sell signal. NCI was getting a little bit testy today. Came down pretty much right to the T-line area and came back up. Makes this very simple. You stay long on this one as long as it doesn't close below the T-line. I hear so many rumors of a significant correction in the near future, maybe 40-50% drop in the markets. If it happens fast, will the charts give us enough time to get into cash or short? Sam, the only advice I can give you is the more people that think there's going to be a big pullback, the less likely it will happen. And that's what makes a strong market, is the more fear that's out there that keeps climbing up against the market, the more strength there is in the market. So it's when everybody says this market's going through the roof that you have to start watching out. So whatever the rumors are, you take with a grain of salt, because the actual decision making of everybody that's out there is going to be built right into the candlestick charts. So let the charts tell you what everybody's thinking. What did I just do? NCI. So that one you stay long as it doesn't close below the T-line. Cala was in a nice uptrend, and it came right smack dab back to the T-line today. Another one that you want to be buying if it starts trading positive tomorrow, because basically it will be telling you that they aren't going to let it close below the T-line. Just stay long. CAMP. Notice what we had up here. This is where you start looking for your indecisiveness. Doji, doji, bearish engulfing signal. That pretty much tells me left-right combo. They're at least coming back here. So if you didn't close it out today, anytime I see a left-right combo, I mean, that's telling me a message immediately. I'm closing out the position, or at least half the position, immediately. Worst case scenario is it opens positive and starts trading positive. You can always buy it back on the next confirmed buy signal. And I say confirmed buy signal because they could pop it up a little bit, but you're still in the overbought condition and you're starting to see sell signals. It better be something compelling to say that when they took it back up, they broke up through, I hate that thing, up through this level. That tells me the bulls are still in control. True. True did exactly what we suspected it would do after your dark cloud, then a doji that just touched the T-line. Makes it very simple. Today it was going to move in the direction of how they opened it after the doji. If they opened it lower, where do you think they were going to take it to? Right back down to the T-line. You should be out of this one. Worst case scenario, they open up positive and start taking it back up, doing a J-hook. You can always buy it back. But right now we've got a dark cloud and a bearish doji sandwich. It's time to come out. That's a lot of strong selling. If they negate this, you can always buy it back. Let's see. Okay. The overall market is still long. Do we use some protective insurance to protect the portfolio? Yes. Anytime you have something that looks a little bit iffy, I'll get to that. We did nugget. Hold on, give me a couple more slides. Nugget, for some reason, backed off, but as you can see, you're still in this big fry pan bottom. So if it closed right here on the 3T line, same scenario. You stay long until you see a sell signal and a close back below the T line. Let's see, wrong button. Oh, protective. Hold on, Shy, I'll get to it. Even longer term charts show long-term downtrend. Well, except we're not, let me take a gander here at this. That's not what I wanted to do. I don't see it. Depends on how long-term you're going to go out. I don't know what I just did here. Oh, that's the 15-minute. So what have you seen from this down trend? Starting to see a lot of basing action here. So I would still stay in the kind of a fry pan bottom, slow curve right there. I would still stay long until you see the breach of the T-line. RT, yes, on a short-term trade basis, if it opens lower tomorrow, you can close it out, and or if it comes down to the T-line, I would hold it until the T-line. If it broke through the T-line, I'd go ahead and sell it. Then the worst case scenario from that point is, comes down through the T-line and then comes back up through the T-line, you can always repurchase it. That tells you they're not going to close back below the T-line. Let's see. Did I do true? Yeah, true. If you stayed in this one, you've only got one thing you can do with this one tomorrow. If you want to stay long, it has to open positive and trade positive. If it opens positive, It has to trade positive. If it opens positive and trades back below this level, you close it out. That means the bears are still winning. Wabe, perfect J-hook pattern, bobble, stay long, so you see a sell signal. WTW. Weight Watchers did back off, but notice what it did today. It opened lower, hit the T-line, started coming back up. And all you can do right now is stay long. As long as this stays above the T-line, your uptrend remains in progress. And, oops, hold on. I'm reaching here to GNE. This is your example of a breakout. You can see the trend channel. And they gapped up through that. Then they gapped it up big. And what do we want to see? If they've had a big up day, let's make this bigger where we can see it. Big up day, profit taking yesterday. What'd they tell us today? Profit taking's over. I'd look for at least a 45 degree to come off of here because you've got all the makings of when it broke out through this level. Notice how they did it. They gapped through that level. They gapped through this level. They weren't worried anymore about the trend. It's telling us there's a new dynamic in this one. Let's see. How long should we wait for a positive open? Oh, Diane, it's just a matter of minutes. Sometimes if the market opens lower, then you watch your 10-minute chart to see if the market is in an uptrend and they open it lower. Watch your 10-minute chart to see if that's the morning profit taking, and then things start turning around. So you can do that again with your stock that you're looking at. How far down does Pepe? That's basic Candlestick 101. Where is the point in the previous candle that tells you the bears are in control? Anybody? Class? Class? At the halfway point, yes. Has to close below the halfway point. First of all, it has to open up above any of the previous day's trading. That means above the shadow or the wicks, and then close more than halfway down. And preferably you want to see that happen when you're in the overbought condition. AQXP. You can see on a longer term chart, meaning back a few months, we've got a slow little fry pan scoop type pattern. This is another one where you can look to start buying if it comes back up through this level. When a stock is meandering to either side of the T-line, do you want to stay out until you see a breakout of the trend? Yes, that's exactly what the stock price is telling you. It has no direction if it's wobbling up and down above and below the T-line. And that's just visual analysis, common sense, is that if it can't get up or down below the T-line for any sustained period of time, then it's just waffling. Move on to something else. I watched the S&P for 5 years and 1 year and monthly. It doesn't matter what happened in the S&P 5 years ago. Doesn't even matter what happened 1 year or 6 months ago. I want to see what it's been doing over the last few weeks to tell me whether we're in a uptrend for the next few weeks, days, or months, or whether we're in a downtrend. Markets have absolutely nothing to do with what happened 5 years, 1 year out, because today's a whole different ball game. Bill, I'll get to the shorts here. Let me get through the longs. And now, when do you start being of hanging on to your profits? When things start looking like the probabilities are starting to reverse. Made lots of money with Win, and where did it go today? It opened positive and traded right smack dab to the 50-day moving average. If you were buying down here, where do you think your first target, where everybody was expecting? The 50-day moving average. What did it do yesterday? A doji. This makes for a very simple exit strategy. If it opened and then traded up here in the overbought condition with a doji the previous day, what should this do for the rest of the day? It should keep trading positive, not necessarily above the 50, just trading positive. If it trades positive, this is where you put your stop, where it opened, because if it came up here and then came back down through that level, that pretty much tells us what's happened. Indecisive day, and now they're starting to sell. That's the time to take profits. Raul, the 3T tells you can be more, I want to say, it's more critical when you've moved a good distance away from the T line. And I'm doing up a whole session on the T line versus the 3T line and how to use them effectively. So that'll be coming up here within the next week or two. No, I don't know why it's purple. I think for some reason there must be two lines on there. There must be a red line and a blue line together. I don't know why that's like that. All right, let's see. So this told us, and this gave us the inclination to start watching for a sell signal. We're in the overbought area. We're starting to see a little indecisiveness. So what did we need to see to tell us that they were breaking through the 50? That we needed to see it trade positive. When it started failing, what did it tell us? It told us they were failing at the 50. Unlike another chart looks exactly like it, BABA, when it broke out, came to the 50, they took it up above the 50 and they didn't bring it back down. Now, yesterday they did a doji, made it very simple. If they'd opened it lower, we could tell that it was the top. The fact that they opened it positive today told us they were moving away from the 50, that there wasn't any resistance. But that also now puts our next analysis of a support and resistance. What happens when they break through a resistance level? More than likely, they're going to come back and test it to see if it's going to act as support. So the first time I see any selling up here, because we're getting up into the overbought area, I'm going to take profits with the idea that if it comes back to the 50 and bounces, you can always buy back again. When you look at a daily candle with wicks, how do you know what the open and close is on the candle? Very simple. This is where the green candle starts, is where it opens, and where the green candle ends is where it closes. On a red candle, if it opens at this point and closes below where it opens, that's where the open and close. The wicks are the trading range during the day, but the open and the close is the box part. All right, let's see. If I've skipped questions, it's because everybody's scrolling past me. Ask it again, or I'll get to them later. All right, VMW. Oh, I should have had this over in the short, but Notice you had a kicker signal, and this is very easy to see. Wave 1, wave 2, now a kicker signal to the downside, stochastics heading down. This is the type that you short on weakness, because that tells me that this wave and this wave are going to be the same. There's still more downside. Intel, don't trade this very much, but the chart was good. There's your little fry pan bottom. There's your best friend. Today they told you the 200-day moving average was not going to act as resistance. That makes a lot of upside potential on this one. Now, it's not a prolific mover, but it's got a good possibility of at least moving 10, 15, 20% from here. This is Intel, INTC. And yeah, this one, Intel, if it opens positive or trades positive, what do you have? You have another J-hook pattern in progress. If they bring it down, where are they going to bring it to? Likely down to the 200 to see, now that they broke the 200, whether it's going to act as support. Notice what they did at the 50. Took it up through the 50, brought it right back down, did a morning star type signal at the 50 that told you they were acting as support. Where's your next target? The 200-day moving average. And Lake, there's your fry pan bottom. What is this pattern? This is what we call the classic, a fry pan bottom. What do you expect coming out of a fry pan bottom? A very strong price move. Pulls back, starts back up again. What do we have? J-hook pattern. What's a prerequisite for a J-hook pattern? Very strong price moves. So when they're in combination, fry pan bottom breakout, J-hook pattern, that's the classic. That's the typical strong move, profit-taking strong move again. ANTH, notice where it's basing. Right smack dab off the 200. Now you have a little doji gap up. Where's your next target? Probably right back up to the 50, so at least you got some running room. And I say running room, if I can see that I've got some profitability starting, that the first resistance level, if it fails, at least I've got a profit in the trade. At least I know most of my positions are hopefully going to be profitable, even if it fails at the first resistance level. Sohu, I haven't watched this in a long time, but we're starting to get this bottoming action, and notice what it did today. Kind of waffled, did the bobble here at the 50, then closed up through the 50, kind of a little J-hook type pattern. Good potential of moving all the way up to the 200-day moving average. And ALIM was the little one that we were trading, expecting after this cradle pattern that we have more upside. And so this one today was when it moved big like this. I mean, that was a big percentage move. That's exactly the time that you go to your 10-minute chart. Anytime you see something move inordinately strong, play your 10-minute chart. Notice what even is happening on the 10-minute chart. We're a good fur piece away from the T-line. Big doji, small doji. When it started selling off, you could see that there was a green or red candle starting. That's when you could take your profits somewhere down in here, because where was the next likely move going to be? At least back to the T-line. Was it going to support there? No idea. You could always check to see what happens at that point. Let's see. Your trade horizon you mentioned runs 2 to 10 trading days. Is that trading on options, futures only, or do you trade stocks the same way? Same way. Remember, it's not a different strategy for options or stocks or futures. Even let's just go back to options or stocks. Nope, that wasn't the question. Yes, options and stocks are the same thing. So, and futures also kind of the same thing. except with futures, and with like stocks also, if you see a pattern setting up, whoops, that's not what I wanted to do. You might be in this one for 5, 10, 15, 20 trading days, just because the trend, the fry pan bottom may create a very strong price trend. Yes, that's Don said it too, that your time frame is also predicated on what we think our targets are going to be, but then actually seeing what the candlestick signals tell us. This is what we're also looking for. This was an unexciting stock until today, because notice what we had today. You might not have caught this move, but this move told us that after the little bullish engulfing signal, we broke out through this resistance level. What's that make our next trend? Well, we can see we've got a trend channel like this. It might be a 45-degree off of here, hugging the top of the trend channel for a while. We're getting to that one. What did I just do? So that's why we recommended Hawaiian Air. Because if you look at this chart, notice what it did yesterday. Not yesterday, Friday. It broke out through this resistance level. That told us we were now probably wave 1, wave 2, going into wave 3. Southwest Airlines, same scenario. You can see there was a resistance here at the 200. They broke through this. Wave 1, wave 2, double bottom. Wave 3 should be the same magnitude as this. Is it going to get there? Who knows? But at least we know it's probably moving up. And how long do we stay with it? Until we see a sell signal and a close back below the T-line. Delta is right there on that resistance level. And how did they get there? They gapped it up to get there. So you got to kind of figure if they gapped up knowing there was a resistance level and went through it, that means they didn't give a hoot about that resistance level. There's probably going to be a lot more upside. And for some reason, I've got this one on the charts. Box. Oh, Box had a nice kind of morning star signal and a doji sandwich. There's a morning star signal with 2 indecisive days. So we've named this the McMuffin, which basically is your morning star signal and your doji sandwich, or your morning sandwich, which would be an Egg McMuffin. So this is just the combination of that morning star signal and the followed by a doji sandwich. We saw that same thing over here in WTW. Morning star signal followed by your doji sandwich should be implying there's going to be more upside. That's right. We're going to put a copyright out on. All right, so those were the longs. But with the market in these conditions, we're getting up here in the overbought area. The Dow less indecisive today, but the other indexes getting a little bit indecisive. And possibly at the resistance level on the NASDAQ, there was plenty of stocks that are starting to sell off even though the market hasn't turned. You mean McMuffin in a box? That's right. So blue, again, we made lots of money on this move to the downside because it had the bearish engulfing signal at the 50. And this is where you observe the obvious. Anytime they come up to a resistance level and you're in a downtrend and they have another strong sell signal, that means they're still selling it off. Now what type of little pattern do we have? We got the potential of a bearish J-hook, which means if this move was, shoot, that was 50 points, they could take this down another 40 or 50 points to the downside. So it's this type of pattern reading. Again, human nature will work in the same method and create these patterns, that this has a high probability of more downside. Now, so that's cruel joke early anyway, while still at the house. All right. We did ITSE. That's your J-hook type pattern setup. I've got calls on this one and own the stock in some of the bigger accounts, because this is the message right here. There was a tremendous interest in this stock, obviously, going from the $25 range to the $60 range in a matter of a couple of days. Profit taking, now what do we see? The profit taking's over. Why does this become a good purchase? Because there was a heck of a strong interest in this stock, profit taking, and usually when the profit taking's over, that's when that strong interest comes back in. That's why we have J-hook patterns. So is selling coffee. Okay. All right. So the question was, what made you decide to sell ANIP? Because what could we see going on every time it came up to a resistance level? Let's make this bigger. First of all, we can observe the obvious, which is it's in a downtrend. Second, every time it came back up to the moving averages, it would sell off. In this case, it started selling off when it came up to the 20-day moving average. Now what type of pattern do you have right here? Pretty much have a slow curve, bearish J-hook pattern in progress. So this is what we kind of went through over the weekend on our targeting, that if we can identify that there's this downtrend and we can basically draw a parallel line, almost a parallel line. There was another, oops, I think it was more like this. At least those are our targets right now. Back to the bottom of the trend channel. What's the stochastics doing? It's starting to roll back over. So they're basically telling us they're not coming back up. They're still heading down. And that's pretty well confirmed by the fact that they're trading below the T line. So we have that one, as well as Shake Shack. Now I'm trying to see whether, oh, okay. Shake Shack, let's make this a little bit smaller. Which direction are we heading in? We're basically in a downward direction. What was the last failure on this one? They couldn't get back up above the 50. Now what type of pattern do we have? We've got a dumpling top. And what do we expect coming out of a dumpling top? Like we saw this summer in the Dow, this big dumpling top. What do we expect? We expect that big downdraft. So, was it? No, Shake Shack. How did this downturn get started? Basically had a gap down through below the T line. If they break this level, there's a good possibility they're coming all the way down to the bottom of this channel, which brings you down into this area. And they could do it in 3, 5, 7, 10 days, or they could do it in 2 days, because that's what we expect coming out of that dumpling top. Did you pick 45.50 due to the previous close? Oh, an ANIP? No. I just picked the fact that it was failed at the 20, downtrend and that we're selling off. And notice what started this little downtrend. There's basically a little kicker type signal that with a strong move to the downside. Oh, did I say 42.50? Oh, how did I pick that level? What was this low? Oh, that if it started trading, or figure if it started trading down this far, that it wasn't coming back up, obviously. But if it, so once it opened up here, that has a different entry strategy. I was just picking this. I'm picking levels that, again, there's a lot of people that head off to work or can't see the open. So what is a safe point to tell us that this is confirming? Well, 42.50 was, where was 42.50? Let me find it here. Oh, yesterday's close. Any trading below yesterday's close, it was just below yesterday's close. Still not doing this right. That's because I'm doing it so small. If it was trading back, started trading down a little bit from this level, that would tell me they're still heading down. Now, here's an excellent entry strategy. Notice where they opened this today, right on the T-line. What did that really tell us? We didn't know which way they were going. Except now, when they started selling it off, if they came back down through yesterday's close after opening up here, what type of candle can you see is already developing? Another bearish candle. And if they come down through this level, what's it pretty much telling us? That this pattern is still in a downward direction. So I picked 42.50 that if it opened lower and started trading down, yeah, that's a safe bet that they're still in a downtrend. But the true, when it opened up here, you can get it a little bit more fine-tuned in the sense that when it came down through yesterday's close after opening at the T-line, or if it opened here and traded up to the T-line and failed and came back down through, that would pretty much tell you they're still selling it off. All right, there you go, Bill. Now, that's why you should ask that question, because you should know the reason for why it's that weakness. Did you get the, I think I got the 42.50 November puts. And I can't remember what I paid for them. But obviously, I was making a profit with them today. That's true too, yes. Let me make this smaller. So, but my first projected target is the trend channel. Downtrend, so if you drew a line through the bottoms, well, that one brings you down here. And what was the other one? I think coming down through here takes you down to the $32 area or even lower. So that should produce a decent profit. We did VMW. Did we do blue? Blue, same scenario. Which direction is this heading? You're in a downtrend. So where's your target on this one? Well, if you draw a trend line down through the bottoms, at least you know you're probably down in this area someplace, which means you can move from the $87 area down here to the 65 area. Or if this was wave one, down here someplace. So even if it, humbug, even if it's here, that's still, you've created a good profit just to get to that level. GLNG, bearish engulfing signal, left-right combo, close below the T-line. Again, observe the obvious. There's this downtrending channel. Where's your next target? You could probably pretty much draw a line parallel right down here. That means you're going to come from about the $31 range down to potentially, let's say, the $23 range. That's going to create a decent profit. Oh, really should have an alarm clock. All right. You stay long on this as long as it stays above the T-line. Diane, yeah, I buy, since I'm only buying usually 10 contracts at a time, that's not going to, a market maker is going to handle that pretty easily. And usually the volume's there. So when there isn't any open interest, the market makers are going to trade with what they think will be their good trade. Oh, what was the symbol of the last stock, Jim? I don't know. What did we just do? Oh, was it GLNG? So there's lots of good bearish charts out there right now. So the problem is finding the stocks or stocks that have enough volume in them where you can get either into the puts and or get in short the stock. I know somebody said today that Toss didn't have any Shake Shack to short because it wasn't enough volume, which was surprising because I think the average is about 600,000 or 800,000 shares on a $44 stock. That should be well enough for the volume. I would anything revealing or telling when the blue and red stochastics cross? No. You're not playing you're not playing the stochastics. All you really want to see is where are the stochastics when a signal occurs. Now, some people like to play the stochastics, but you'll find that the candlestick reversal signal is already giving you a 2 or 3 day head start before the stochastics tell you what to do. HTWR is the type of short that you're looking for, that bearish J-hook type patterns. So that's what you want to go out and find, is which ones have that slow curve pattern just starting. So look at ETSY, ETSY. Nice little slow curve, but what else do you recognize here? Kind of a big dumpling top with the dimple in here. And what's the dimple tell you? That from here to here is usually going to be the same from here to here. So this one you can definitely be shorting on weakness tomorrow. The volume today on Shake Shack was over 600, but it's also hard to borrow from Schwab. Yeah, that just seems kind of strange with that type of volume. Now, if it only traded 140,000 shares, that I would be a little bit concerned about trying to find the volume. But 600,000 shares on a $44 stock, that's unusual that there isn't stock being traded somewhere in the margin accounts in a lot of these firms. What did I just do? That was ETSY. HSC. Notice where it failed, right here at this level, and did an evening star type signal, closed right on the T line. also makes this trade very simple. If it opens lower, you can be shorting it because it's probably coming down to the bottom of the trend channel, which would be a significant move. Now, the reason I put this one up was I think the volume on this one was a few million shares today, so it's not going to be difficult to find. Let's see. Was listening to YouTube thing by Acorn guy. He was mentioning that computers trade 70% of the trades. So how, if at all, does that enter into the emotions of a candlestick bar if machines are a lot of the action? Number one, that's how it's being executed, is through computers. Two, humans are still placing the orders for their stop limits or their buy limits. So they're still there's it's still humans that place the orders. The computers don't place the orders. With the market getting to the oversold, would bonds be attractive now? Oh, Jem, you're asking the wrong person. And with the market getting overbought, nah, that means there's going to be some good possibilities on the short side. The oils were getting whacked today because oil is off so much. BTU. There's your dark cloud. Opened above any of the previous day's trading, closed more than halfway down this candle. There's your left-right combo. You're right on the T-line. Makes this very simple. If they open this lower, you could possibly be in wave 3 to the downside. And CRR. Notice where the Morningstar signal occurred, right smack dab at the 50. What's the overall trend? Trend channel. This one could move from the $22 range all the way down here to the, say, the $16 area. That's a good 25% to the downside. Was Saturday posted? I'm sure it must have been by this time. And KAOI. Anytime you see that doji gap down, there's the same scenario, kind of a downtrending channel. Where's your next target? More than likely, right here at the 200-day moving average. So even though they took this back up, if they open it lower, that means the bulls have failed. The best friend to the downside is still in progress. You want to be shorting this one immediately. And U.S. Steel, downtrend. Look for it to come back to the bottom of the trend channel. KS, another one where you kind of observe the obvious, which is you're in a downtrend. When it got up to the resistance level, it broke through on Friday. But then notice what it did today, a long-legged bearish harami, which makes this very simple. If they open this lower, it's pretty much telling you they failed at the 50. The bearish harami tells you the buying has stopped. And where's your next target? Right down here. So moving from 20 down to the $14 range. I can figure that out. That's about well over 35%. And is this Navistar NAV? Downtrend. It's failing at the 50. Morningstar signal right here. I'm sorry, Evening Star signal. If they open this lower, downside down here to the $10 range, giving you about a 50% downside. So with that, JJ, I don't know why. It doesn't matter what the reason for airlines moving up. All we know is the chart's telling us that the buyers are stepping in. There's JetBlue. Notice what it did today. It broke this little downtrending channel. You can be buying this one, wave 1, wave 2, wave 3 going into action. If the markets are getting oversold, should you only look for stocks to short? Cesar, no, the markets are in the overbought area. We're getting up here in the overbought area. So you don't have to necessarily look for stocks, but right now, if this market is kind of telling us it's running out of steam a little bit, we still have a great advantage using candlesticks. With scans, very simply, taking us 10, 15, 20 minutes at most each afternoon, we can find plenty of stocks to be short as well as other stocks to be long until we see a definite rollover. But right now it's telling us it looks like it's getting toppy. So you can always kind of mitigate your risk by being in some shorts and longs. So, all right, that's about all I got tonight. Oh, so one of the things that we were showing on in our target session this weekend was when we see that buy signal, like in MPEL, where was the first time to take profits? When they got up to our first target, which was a 50-day moving average, as well as this little resistance level right here. And what did we see the next day? We saw a bearish Harami, which essentially told us with stochastics getting up toward the overbought area at our target, telling us the selling had or the buying had stopped. Where are they taking it? They're taking it back down, probably back to the T line. That's when to start taking profits. Let's see. Oh, I don't think. Right now I'm showing that the bid on Shake Shack is 42.01 and the offer is 45, so it doesn't really show anything major going on. Overbought or oversold can last longer than your account can handle. Yes, play the patterns. Just because you're in an oversold condition doesn't necessarily mean the uptrend has started. And being in the overbought condition doesn't mean it's time to sell. It just tells you to be a little bit more diligent as far as looking for a sell signal. Okay, so with that, are there any other general questions on candlesticks? Oh, that's right. The Steelers are playing tonight. They're down 7. That's an impossibility. Is a slow curve forming? Let's see. With a dimple. Oh, not necessarily with a dimple. Let's make this a little bit bigger. No, I wouldn't call this a slow curve. Usually a slow curve is usually coming back and sitting on the T line and coming back up. Is earnings play often 50-50 chance? No. I have found that probably 80% of the time it's going to move in the direction of what the chart is telling me right before they go into it. which means 20% of the time you get hit. So, but for every time I get hit, I get 4 or 5 very good trades off of the going into earnings. Is it possible to get the morning and afternoon comments recordings during the day? Afternoon, morning. They aren't recorded. They're just typed in. And let's see. How do we sign in for Thursday night? Link not working. Usually, well, it's not going to be working yet, obviously. Usually on Thursday afternoon, you're going to get either the afternoon comments or an email telling you what the what the what the code is or what the password is. Oh, about the chat room talk. Rama, somebody in the room, I think, records it. That's something to ask the room during the day if anybody records it. Oh, would I come in and do my commentary? I don't know. Okay. All right, Jim, go ahead and do the double line. UTIW. Well, what do we usually expect after these big gap ups? Usually a 45 degree. So at this point, if I was buying this one on positive trading, I wouldn't want to see it close back below the opening point of when the bulls were taking control. If you're buying this one, just buy it as long as it stays in a 45 degree. I think we did ANTH. This one you can be buying with the anticipation you're going to pop up to the 50. Yum was the Morningstar signal. If it opens positive tomorrow, you can be trading it, but just be aware of what it will do if it hits once it hits the T line. ACI, just stay long on this as long as it stays above the T line. It looks a little bit sloppy right now, but you can see what's happening. You're in this fry pan bottom, so you just stay long until you see that sell signal and a close below the T line. YPF, also stay long, but notice where it's kind of failing right here at this downtrending channel. So just make sure if you're long that it doesn't close below the T line. Whiting backed off today, but it backed right off to the T line. So this will be important to see where they open this tomorrow. If they open it lower, you close it out and you get ready to buy it back if it bounces back up off the 50. That's on a trade basis. On long term, I'd still wait for it to get up to the 200-day moving average. EME, all you can do with this one is stay long. However, if it opens lower, I'd be taking off some because I'd be failing right at this level with a little hanging man doji. And then if I took off most of my position, I'd have all the position gone if it comes back down through the low of today. CEL, CEL, that's a decent looking chart. Kind of a scoop type pattern or a J-hook pattern. You can stay long on this one. Just make sure your volume's good. It looks a little bit choppy. The Qs. Qs doing the same thing as the NASDAQ. Watch to make sure it doesn't fail right here at the 200. So if it does open positive tomorrow, that's pretty much telling us that the 200 on the Qs aren't going to be a factor for a little bit anyways. The dollar, Canadian dollar, still in an uptrend as long as it doesn't close back below the T line. Now, if it opens lower tomorrow, more than likely they're going to bring it down to test the T line. LB is one of the ones that we're still holding because it's in wave 3. Notice a little scoop pattern that's doing the slingshot effect, expecting the same magnitude move as this over here. And Guild, you're in the downtrend. You're not in a very prolific uptrend, which means if it opened lower tomorrow, it'd definitely be out of this because you're probably in, at best, a very, very slow uptrend. Rig, it came back down through the 200, obviously, at the T line. It has to open positive to stay in it. If you stayed long, it shouldn't be in it if it goes down below the T line. CVX, another one that if it opens lower, it's coming back to test the T line. I would take profits and then watch to see what it does once it gets to the T line. LSCC, that's a good looking chart. Nice slow curve, broke out through the 50. That one I'd be a buyer of. Lulu, you should have been out of this one today. You had a bearish engulfing at this little resistance level. It needed to open positive and trade positive today. With it closing back below the T line, there's nothing here that you want to be long on Lulu. As a matter of fact, you probably, I don't know what I'd go short, but definitely do not want to be long Lulu right now. You could possibly short this one. It wouldn't be the best short because you don't know really how big the trend is. Basically sideways. And Keurig, you can get ready to go short. Evening Star signal, I would suspect it could come back down to the bottom of this channel. Good steady downtrend. LNCO, darn, these things. Another one that should have been closed out today with it closing back below the T line. You can always buy it back with it coming back up. But as you can see, there's really no great trend to this one right now. You had the potential of a breakout, but you can see the sell signals told you the sellers are back in control. RJET, stay long, but this has to open positive tomorrow to stay in it. If it opens lower, your 45 degree is gone. Come out of the trade. You can always buy back any of these when they close or trade below the T line. You can always buy them back if they come back up above the T line. HMSY, stay long. Nice fry pan bottom. So very simple. You stay long as it stays above the T line. Palo was selling off today. Bah. Which means you want to stay short. I would suspect this trend channel probably is going to bring you down to this level, which also coincides with the 200-day moving average. Lilly, gap down. That one's an ugly chart. I wouldn't be trading this one. If you were in it, you want to be out of this one. There's no trend for this one at all. Let's see. We did Whiting. Rebuilt. Nothing yet. If I was going to buy this, I'd put a buy stop right up here. That would tell me they are starting to back up. AST, you can see it's having a little bit of trouble here at the 20. If it opens lower tomorrow, it's probably coming back to test the 50 and the T line. So I would probably come out of it because it's not showing any strength if it opens weaker. You can always buy it back if it bounces up off the T line. DV, you can see the trend channel. You can see the evening star. If this opens lower, you want to be out of it. We're still long DY because it's still in this 45-degree or wave 1, wave 2. Notice the little gap up telling us we want to stay long as it stays above the T line. HBM, they're going to come back down and test this level. And when they do, now you're back into the trading range. I would, if it opens weaker tomorrow, I'd close it out and then just see what it does once it comes back to the T line. Bearish engulfing, where do you think they were bringing it back to? Back to the T line. Makes this one very simple. It has to open positive if you're still in it. It has to open positive and trade positive to stay in it. If it opens lower, close it out. Another one that's probably coming back to test the T-line area. But not the T-line area, but the 200. CB still held up above the 3T line. If it opens lower tomorrow, they're bringing it back to the T-line. Take your profits. You can always buy it back if it does a reversal signal. We did Weight Watchers. As long as Weight Watchers stays above the T-line, you stay long. Your uptrend is still in progress. ANTM. Now you can buy this one, but you just want to watch this area. Your downtrend. Try to do a double bottom. If you like it, you can be buying it, but I'd be awful weary of the this downtrending channel. AKBA. Nothing here. This had a morning star type signal. It needed to open positive and trade positive. Right now there's nothing to this chart that looks intriguing anymore. I'd be someplace else. Mobley. Mobley, same scenario. Doesn't know which way it wants to go. You're up here in the overbought area. Your steam has already gone out of it. If this opened lower tomorrow, you definitely want to be out of it. Then you just put your buy stop right up here. If it comes back up through there, you know the next wave is in progress. But right now, there's nothing that would tell me I'd want to be owning this one. Tesla, you stay short. Ever since your bearish engulfing signal, they haven't been able to bring it back up above the T line. And NXPI, this one's pretty simple. If it opens positive, they're taking it right up to the 200-day moving average. You can stay long on this. Let's see what else. You're scrolling past me here. APOL. I'd be ready to go short on this one. Not a real sell signal, but if it breaks this level, you can be short. Just not a real strong sell signal at this point because there's nothing there as far as a sell signal. This one I'd be more apt to go short on. Let's get rid of this, wherever that came from. That's telling me the downtrend is failing, especially if it opens weaker tomorrow. Go also. I say also. A lot of the charts you can see are starting to roll over a little bit. They may not be a total reversal, but we can tell there's going to be some profit taken. We don't know whether a lot of these are going to support at the T line, but more than likely they're going to come back to the T line. So if it opens lower, you close it out and just wait to see what it does. Not it does, but a lot of them are going to be influenced by what the market does up here. This one doesn't come up. APLE for some reason doesn't come up over here on this system. I don't know what's wrong there. Starbucks still, if you like this one, you stay long as it stays above the T line. Big kind of fry pan bottom. Doesn't really have any prolific movement to it. But if you like it, more than likely it's going to come back up to the existing trend. So you stay long on this one. Whoops, that's not the right one. BGC. Another one that you can get ready to go short based upon the evening star signal. Remember, the bigger the signal, the more compelling it is that there's been a change of investor sentiment. TOT, getting toppy. I would suspect if any weakness tomorrow, you've got a bearish doji sandwich, that you could be heading back down to the 200-day moving average. Forgot the bonds for somebody earlier. Bond prices, as you can see, are kind of stuck in this wedge. So it doesn't look like bond prices on the short-term basis. I would suspect they're going to bring it back up to the 200 after bouncing off the 20. And Nike, just stay long. That's kind of a little J-hook type pattern, getting back up into that trend trajectory. SUNE, this one I've closed out only because it was getting just a little bit soggy at this downtrend channel. I've closed it out. I closed it out today when it was trading lower, but that still puts in a position where if they open this positive after not being able to close below the T line, you can be buying it, because if it breaks out to this level, they're going to pop it real quick back up to the 50. So I'd be a buyer of this one on positive trading tomorrow. Micron, probably coming back to the T line. Senta, just stay long as this stays above the T line. TRST, not a very exciting one, but it is a fry pan bottom. You can stay long on this one. Just make sure the volume is good. And ACET, that's a good looking chart. You can be buying this little J-hook pattern. Just use the T line as your stop. And let's see, AC, is that ACL or ACI? ACI, you stay long. Las Vegas Sands, just like Win, I'd be closing this one out because it did the same thing. Doji, bearish engulfing signal at the 50. If it opens lower, it's telling us that the 50 and this level are all acting as resistance. I'd close it out on weakness. There is no link to this meeting. I wasted 30 minutes trying to get in. There is no good link to this meeting. Zuzu, I can't help you there. Everybody else got in. This, I don't even think there was a, Jim, can you help Zuzu figuring out how to get in here? It's not that difficult. If I can get in, anybody can get in. GFI did a bearish engulfing signal. If it opens lower, you close it out because it tells you it's going to be waffling. This looked like it had a potential of breaking out, but right now, it has. If you're in it, it has to open positive and trade positive to definitely stay in this one. Maxwell did some backing and filling, but didn't change this fry pan bottom or J-hook type pattern. And notice what it used for support. Kind of bounced back up off the 3T area. EDCU, big breakout. Look for a 45 degree. Same trajectory as what was going on. AMAG, nothing except possibility of getting ready to go short on this one. Notice how it's been failing here at the T line. I'd put a sell stop right down here because there you got a bearish J-hook pattern that you've already moved down 22 points. I could still be selling off. I'd watch this one for weakness tomorrow. Uh-oh, hold on, scrolled past me again. CANF did a message today. The message being they gapped it up. That was the message, a doji gap up. Now you watch to see when the profit taking's over and get ready to start buying this. You can see the rounding bottom. Get ready to start buying this one. That was the message. I think we did Tazar. Tazar, you after the big left-right combo, if it opens lower tomorrow, close it out. LSCC, that's a good-looking chart. We got an email today about a training on Thursday, but the link don't work to register. Okay, we'll make sure that's fixed. You try it in a day or so. What is today? Monday. I'll have Abe check it out. We did Tesla. Tesla, you stay short. So you see a buy signal. I would suspect look for a reversal somewhere down in this range. It's purple because I've apparently got a red line as well. Let's see, modifying this. I don't know why it's. Let's see if that did anything. No, I've got two lines on there. Anyways, I didn't change the color. It changed by itself. XLNX, stay long, but if it opens lower tomorrow, you close it out. It has to open positive, so you have your double doji. So if it opens positive tomorrow, you want to be buying immediately. And Slumberger came back and just touched the T-line. It has to open positive tomorrow, or you've got kind of an evening star signal failure of the 50. So that'll also be a function of what they do with oil prices tonight. Whoops. Just didn't read fast enough. Seeing what LCI. This one has to open positive to stay in it. And Microsoft, I don't like to trade this because it is such a slow mover percentage-wise. But another one where you just stay long as it doesn't close below the T-line. Fit, nothing here yet. Just kind of a slow, sluggish downtrend, and it's still not above the T-line. So, yeah, I wouldn't be trading this one at all. And G-Pro's can't get out of its own way. If you're short, you stay short. So you see a buy signal and a close back up above the T-line. This one getting toward the oversold area and the 200. Just watch to see what it does once it hits the 200. But if you're short, ever since the hanging man evening star signal, you stay short with the 200 being the likely target. KND, that's a little morning star signal and a close above the T-line. I wouldn't be afraid to be buying this one on positive trading, just using the T-line as your stop tomorrow. And CLDX, this one has a perfect setup. You're right here on the 20 with a doji. If it opens positive, your doji sandwich is probably going to take you up eventually to at least the 50. So I'd be a buyer of this one on positive trading tomorrow. Lilly, yeah, usually the big institutional trader, but that's just a junky chart. There's nothing to sink your teeth into on this one. HP, another one that's come up through the resistance level. Now, wouldn't be surprised if they don't bring it back down to test the T-line and or the 50-day moving average pink line, purple line. Oops, AQXP. You can get ready to buy this. I'd be ready to buy this on positive trading, especially if it could get up to the moving averages. That's right. Okay. Let's see. VSTM. Nothing here until they can get back up above the T-line. FCX. I would suspect coming back to test the T-line. Can we do both of these? Maxwell, you can still buy this one, especially if it comes back up through today's open. And ANET, you stay long, but as you can see, it needs to open positive. Don't let it close back below the T-line. Okay, just be careful that we're getting a little bit toppy with this market, except for the Dow. But the other indexes, Well, shows butts. The other indexes are getting a little bit dicey, especially the NASDAQ. If it opens, if we wake up and the pre-market futures are down tomorrow, get ready to take some profits on some of the long positions. So with that, everybody have a, oh no, I'm my system's running slow here. So now I'm invigorated. I got the swimming pool that's probably freezing cold, and then I jump in the hot tub, and that just keeps me sparkly and happy. Okay, everybody have a good evening. We will see you bright and early in the chat rooms tomorrow.